Hello, trading has closed on February 18th, 2025. We always begin with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. It's my trading plan for Wednesday, which is February 19th, 2025. Remember, I can change my plan. My plan can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. I'm going to be busy all day the 20th. That might restrict my trading on the 19th, so I might not be risking my own money on this. I haven't decided yet. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this. Tends to be a rally day with a high in the final hour. It sure took its sweet time in getting there, but that's what happened. We had an optional target, 61.2693, and that printed. So we have a move to the target, and this is a resistance area. Resistance doesn't have to hold, but there's a wall into the close with resistance. With just a few minutes left to trade, this normally rally day was under all these highs. It's not a particularly bullish pattern, and then suddenly we had this huge rally. When you get a wall into the close like this, in general, it's a bearish sign. It's a sign of a move by retail customers rather than professional traders who aren't going to wait till liquidity dries up to buy with abandon. But the catch is we hit a new all-time high today, and when you get a wall into the close with a new all-time high, you're only going to gap down about half the time. We also have what's just called the Hobson close. Hobson closes essentially within the high of the day. We missed it by 5 cents. That's close enough for me. This also has a tendency to gap down, but even though there's a tendency to gap down and undercut this slow fast, it's only going to work half the time when you're hitting a new all-time high. And I don't like to risk money on stuff where it's only going to work half the time. That's not where the money is. The new all-time high puts us in bar number 13 on the weekly chart for a DeMark sequential sell. And since the last 3 bars don't have to obey all the rules, we're also in bar number 13 on combo sell and alignment. So this is an area where we could top out anytime this week. Now, a friend of mine has a timing system which calls for a top on Friday, but it's not an exact system, and there is a leeway of a few days. So if we ideally rally into Friday, it would be his time and also DeMark's thing. But these things aren't really exact, and if we do gap down and keep on dropping, it's really close enough. Even though I'm not predicting that, if it happens, I would believe it. Doesn't mean it will happen. We had this old count, was dependent upon these lows holding. They didn't hold, so we have to find some other way to make an ABC. You don't really have to fudge too much. We have the same gray A and gray B. You can call this blue A, this blue B. Our target's 61.41 and change. And the FEB still work if we hit the target. That doesn't mean we hit it tomorrow. These are the week's patterns. Wednesday's pattern has a early low regardless of where we open. We have a wall into the close, and the close is in a MEJT resistance area. We may, in capitals, gap down, but when a new high is hit, the wall eats that only half the time. We close near enough to the higher day to justify, but not require, gapping down at tomorrow's open. I mean, 50-50 chance. That's not 100. That's 50-50. We're now in bar 13 of a DeMark overbought area on the weekly chart. The bar may finish early. A friend of mine has a timing system calling for a top on Friday, but the system isn't exact. There's some leeway as to the time. We're within 12 handles of my 61.41 plus wave target for the end of the rally leg. That's not exact either. I feel we're close in time and close in price to a top here. Ideally, we rally into a 61.41 plus top on Friday, but anything close to that is good enough for me. Rallying well past the date and well past the target kills the idea, and no one should try calling a top unless he has a decent stop. You can really get your head handed to you if you try to call a top and you're wrong. But I guess I should change this closing price, 612958. Okay. So we're in the area we could tap out, but I'd like it to go, we could gap down tomorrow, 50-50 chance. What I'd like to see is gapping down and then rallying into 61.41 plus on Friday. But that's, if you're going to wait for the things to be perfect, it's perfect is the enemy of the good. And even though I think we'll go higher, I think we'll go a little bit higher, and I think we'll rally a little bit longer, I think we're close enough to start pulling in your horns if you're on the long side of the market, even though there might be a little more left here. Remember, without a stop, don't take the trade. Remember, I think we're close, but not quite there yet. And that's today's call.